Call the meeting to order. If you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. The next step is a moment of silence. I would like to bring to your attention that Michelle Kiefer's mother passed away. If you'll keep Michelle and her family in your thoughts and prayers. I know Allison Oppenheim, her father, is ill, and he's over in England, so she's with her dad, so please keep Allison and her family in your prayers. And then for those who probably have seen him but didn't know him, at the Kensington Service Center, not Big Mario, but Little Mario. He was a gentleman who's very short, had a beard. He passed away. He had pancreatic cancer, I believe. So please think of him and his family. And Big Mario's pretty upset about it, so I'm sure he'd appreciate. He's worked for Mario for a very long time, so we'll miss him. Is there anybody else that anyone wants to lift up? You're just waving?
Waving down, sorry.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, if you just bow your heads for a minute. Okay, thank you very much. Let's see, going down, approval of the minutes. Council, just let me let you know, Susan, our clerk treasurer, is out. She had a funeral of her uncle up in upstate New York, so she's not here tonight. So you received the minutes this afternoon. Hope everyone had a chance to look at them. This was for February 10th. Please let me know if you have any changes. If not, if somebody will make a motion to approve the minutes.
I move that we approve the February 10th, 2020 Town Council meeting minutes.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, and so we will start with the Development Review Board. Councilmember Crimmins and Bartram.
The Development Review Board met with the applicant Woodside Ventures about and this was last week, Wednesday the 4th, about a property at 4000 Knowles Avenue. The applicant is proposing 6 townhouses, and this is in the area at the corner of Knowles and Summit, kind of adjacent to the HOC. So in your packet, you see what we are depicting here on the screen are 6 residential townhome units. This area is in the CRN zone, so they have a 45-foot height, and they have the residential overlay to do this. Right now, they're proposing 6 units that from the front on Knowles are about 38, just under 40 total feet of height. Each unit would be 3 to possibly 4 bedrooms with a garage off the rear accessible from Kaiser. This is actually the 3rd time that this project has been before the DRB, as well as it's had a community meeting. So they have looked at numerous different ways to lay out the project. The rendering that you see here, and I'm going to work through the pictures, it includes updates they've made based on DRB and Montgomery County planning staff input as far as materials. So they are committed to using brick and hardy materials. We had asked from a previous version that they increase the ratio of brick to hardy, which they are depicting here. 5 of the 6 units would have a kind of this rooftop, elevated deck, terrace off the back. The westernmost unit, which is toward the corner of Summit and Knowles, does not have the width to do. They need that for programming on the inside. They didn't want to lose it to outdoor space. That's why 5 of the 6, but the benefit is it acts as a buffer to the rest of them from traffic of Knowles and Summit. So just clicking through, we asked them to give us a couple of different elevations from different angles as well as day and night. One of the other things that's unique to this space, it has truly 3 fronts. You can see it from the south side by HOC, you can see it from the west off of Summit, you can see it from the north off of Knowles, and should any development take place at the Kaiser property next door to the east, arguably you'd be able to see it there. So the developer is also committed to wrapping all 4 sides in the same materials, not making any one of the sides a lesser side than the front. So again, just clicking through, they have 2 main floor plans, a 20-foot wide and a 16-foot wide. They are going with a concept that would include potentially elevators. And so at this time, what we wanted to do was review the project with the council. The DRB met, like I said, on Wednesday, and after reviewing the program with the applicant and his team, having a chance to again ask questions and go through the application, it is our recommendation as a DRB to the council that we support the project. And so, as an advisory board to the council, that's our position here, is just to say that after reviewing it, we think it's a project worth pursuing and supporting within the town.
Is there any questions from the council?
What's the traffic impact?
So this traffic impact is fairly minimal considering other project, there are other uses that they looked at. So from the first DRB meeting to the last DRB meeting with a community meeting in between, there was some input of, hey, what about a commercial use at this corner? And so the applicant explored parking underneath, then with an elevated floor of commercial or retail, and then potentially with housing above that. Planning did not like that at all. Parking, it became a nightmare. Accessing it became a nightmare. So again, they went back to residential because it is the lowest traffic count. It's almost negligible. However, they are doing their driveways and their garages off of Kaiser Place. So that does mean whether it comes in of Dietrich or it comes in via the Pitchfork, you know, it's 6 units. Arguably, it's
12 cars.
6 to 12 cars.
And just to add some numbers to that, when they kind of sketched out a mixed-use proposal, it was parking for 19 cars, which would be changing over throughout the day as customers came and left. This is 6 units. You know, they're required to park 1 car. Each garage accommodates 2. So, but it just as far as relative impact. I think not having any exit onto Knowles keeps from exacerbating the intersection more. And as far as those 6 cars going, you know, north on Dietrich, south on Dietrich, or out Warner, I don't think it's a.
I see car accidents there like all the time, and it's like, oh, let's add some more. Like, I mean, it's so bad. What's the harm in adding more? But I think it's worse. I think we add more and it gets worse. So you guys will outvote me and it's fine. But
Well, and I don't. Yeah, I would prefer that it not be a matter of outvoting you. We talk about traffic, but when you look at the 10400 building, which has whatever 7 or 8, 9. I don't even know how many floors it is at this point.
it has a lot of
But-
floors, but not a lot of tenants.
Well, and that's exactly my point. That if you add 1 tenant to that building, which they could do without coming to us at all, it will have a greater impact than this development.
I agree.
People cheered when Chipotle came to that corner, and the
Chipotle
traffic.
predates me.
Okay, but I'm saying the traffic impact of Chipotle on that intersection compared to that dead audio soundwork store was orders of magnitude. And so I think we ought to not get hung up by 6 townhomes. We're going to get more than that eventually too. We just need to support the infrastructure that we also need to relieve the intersections and accommodate more traffic.
So with it, some of the other community amenities that the developers put forth are improved, what they're referring to as the gateway, right at the corner. So improved pedestrian flow, they would move the sidewalks off of the street, they would create a green buffer. Within that green buffer, they've even gone so far as to say they would not only plant, but maintain the street trees, 4 along Summit, 4 along Knowles, 1 along Summit, as well as putting in 2 stormwater management bioswales.
Is this Tom Brawl?
It is Tom Brawl.
Didn't he say he was gonna do that for Wine and Co?
Uh,
Yeah, I think he did, and that never manifested. So I'm just a little
Mhm.
concerned about, I mean, that sounds great to me, that would sell it to me, but I have no faith that that's actually gonna manifest, because it didn't last time.
So,
Well, Tom is here, would you,
Tom, do you want to comment on that?
Yeah.
you need to
You
go
just have
up
to
to
come to the
the
podium.
microphone.
And if you could introduce yourself, Tom.
Just for the record, speak into the mic.
Record, what would you like me to comment on this plan, or?
She's talking about Wine and Company.
Yeah, we exceed the code at Mine Company by 4 trees. We planted them right in front of the ice cream store, and there's a lot of plantings.
I think she
there.
was referring to the stormwater management system that you put in.
We were required to put in the state-of-the-art storm management system. It was very expensive, and it works fabulously.
I actually
Was
meant
it-
the buffer in between the walking,
Oh,
between the street
Green
and the.
strip.
Mhm.
So, along the sidewalk along Knowles, in the green buffer.
That would be up in here.
Yes.
That's all the state highway administration. So I would encourage, anybody to talk to the state. We're still waiting for them to make the improvements.
I mean, I think it would be helpful to clarify, you did not commit to putting a buffer on that project because there's no room for it. In fact, State Highway made you change your outdoor seating so that cars coming from Dietrich onto Knowles could see oncoming traffic,
Yeah.
because there's so limited
In
space.
some, we were required to do what's there, and
Right.
we exceed the code in all aspects on that project. Now, collaboratively, I think it's an interesting point to make safer. And I think Tracy and I have talked about this for years, but in terms of that movement, which isn't relevant to this project, I think a movement from Dietrich all the way to Summit, off of Knowles, is a great idea. And I think we can do that collaboratively on that side. Here, just to, for the community benefit, we weren't supposed to speak tonight, but in terms of the community benefit, we are giving 15 feet of the right-of-way to the state. So should the state invest, which I think was where you guys should put your energy, the right-of-way would now be 80 feet as a result of our work. We also donate a public plaza, public open space, common open space, and I think we quadruple the canopy and the caliper of every tree. So it exceeds the number of tree canopy by 4-fold, it exceeds the canopy by 3-fold. We're giving away almost half of the space, and we're maintaining it. I think it's a great little project. Anything else?
Wait, you have to wait just a minute, Jody. We'll ask the public in just a minute. Okay, thank you, Tom. Connor, can you just speak to the, what planning had asked for at the end of the street?
So, at the end of Kaiser Place?
Right.
Yeah, so planning, they came up with an iteration that, it's hard to see, I'll go up here. And this came from Montgomery County Parks and Planning Division. What they've asked in a different development, but to be considered now, is that this end, the terminus here of Kaiser Place, or what on some plats is still marked as Mitchell Street, this, they reviewed it with county and found that the road entirely belongs to the town of Kensington. And what the Parks and Planning would like to do is to draw back the terminus of this road closer to this last apron and driveway, and then put sod over the top of it and create a larger green space in what they're calling a connection point from this public amenity gateway down to the grassy field at HOC, the skate park. And so, what planning would like the town to consider in the future is doing a a change of use from being an asphalt roadway to green space, which would just mean tearing up this portion of the asphalt. Obviously, whatever ramifications are in the stormwater that's right here, and then increasing the green space, thus making more of a pocket park.
You could probably take about 10 feet of asphalt up with, and then just bring it up to the two storm sewers without having to get into that as well. I looked at it pretty carefully. You know, because the picture doesn't show the fence that's actually
Yeah.
there, so it's not like it's all open
Right.
green space, and as long as it's a school, it more than likely will, when it goes back from HOC, it will, if it's an open park, it'll have a fence.
Right, yeah.
So, I could see where we could do a little bit of that. I'd be a little reluctant to bring it as far up as they wanted, mainly because of the cost.
Right.
But, we did
Are
look
this-
at,
The sewers are on the left side or the right side?
on both sides.
Oh, they're on
That
both
street has 5 sewers.
I think I saw that today.
And one is a double. And I mean, the one closest to me is a double. And you're like, why all these sewers on this road?
A lot of water. I don't know.
So, but we could actually take from Dietrich down to Summit on the south side and put a sidewalk. I think that would be very helpful to put a sidewalk all the way down there too.
Where
Just along Kaiser Place, so
Okay.
just start there at the corner of Dietrich and Kaiser and just take a sidewalk across. You do have the large apron, of course, you would cross for the parking lot, but I think then it would get you, you don't have to walk in the street to get down there.
Oh, you'd be able to walk and continue on
Right.
along the sidewalk in the front of the
Right.
HOC.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And there's no trees there, so they're just signs. We can move signs. So I just think that would definitely would be good, keep people out of the street. Does the council have any other questions before we open it up to the audience, the residents? No? Okay. If you'd like to come forward, just come to the microphone and give your name and just your street.
Jody Krieger, Lexington Court. Is there a pull-off for delivery trucks or?
No, I mean, more than likely, they would come around back, but that is a good point. Because you can't pull off on,
I see them just double parking right there on Knowles.
right,
And that being a problem, and anyone who is being picked up by somebody, just blocking Knowles
Or
right
trash.
there. I
mhm.
mean, shouldn't there be some kind of pull-off for delivery trucks or something?
Okay. Well, I think trash would be picked up from the back, that's where the garage is.
Right, but you have.
No, I know, I'm just talking about
Yeah.
she mentioned trash, the trash cans I would think would be in the back of
I don't know the possibility of this, but what is the possibility of shifting the address numbers from a Knowles address to a Kaiser Place address? Because it's all GPS routes. So then you have Amazon, UPS, FedEx coming to the Kaiser Street side of it, Kaiser Place side of it, as opposed to pulling up and being like, can I get away with jumping out of the truck real quick?
But then
No,
if
they
if that's turned into a school, and then you have people coming to pick up their kids, and then
Yeah, it's a
also
big.
blocking, it's a really congested area. It's really congested.
But even, and that's fair. My concern with the hypothetical, if MCPS takes back the HOC property is that, or the Kensington Elementary School property is, they've also put out different versions of different plans that say they will completely change the orientation of the building, the traffic flow. It could be that
Sure,
that's, we
absolutely.
have no idea what's gonna happen there.
True.
Mr. Bartram, just give your name and your street.
Peter Bartram, Warner Street, depending on how you count them, about 2 or 3 blocks away from this project. Could we get the picture you had that was up here before?
The one of the landscape?
Yes, that one, yes. My concern, and I do appreciate the great work that the DRB and the council is doing and working with this developer to get the best we can. Obviously, it's quite a stretch to go from 1 residence to 6 on the same small piece of property, but my biggest concern is Kaiser Place. One of the pictures in this packet shows a car parked in this driveway, which is typical, except the car sticks out half a car width into the street. And you know, not everybody's gonna park their cars in the garages all the time. And this is a pedestrian street as well as, well, currently an overflow parking lot for HOC, but well, this is a major pedestrian way for those of us in this section of town that want to get, say, to the library or the bus stops on Summit Avenue, or whatever. We really don't want to go up to and walk along Knowles. This Kaiser Place is a great pedestrian walkway. Having a 40-foot wall, 8 feet away from the walkway is almost intimidating. It would have been great if the county pretty much forced this, shift the building away from the street a little bit and get it closer to Knowles where there's already heavy traffic and all. But this is rather tight in here. And if we look at this drawing, it looks like we lose the pedestrian walk we have now, going from the corner of the end of Kaiser Place to the corner of Knowles and Summit.
Well, there would be a sidewalk. I think there's another drawing that is not included in this package, that the sidewalk would actually come away from the street and bring you around and then back to. It's just not shown on there. But there would be a sidewalk, and as I suggested, the town adding another sidewalk from Dietrich to Summit to keep you out of the street and put you on a sidewalk.
But,
Right.
we don't have that now.
No, I understand. I understand.
Yeah, it's always funding problems.
Yeah. Is there to answer his question about the car, wasn't the car, a car could fit in that driveway? Is that correct?
Look at
No, I understand. I'm asking, well, you can't go by a concept drawing necessarily. Tom, do you have how wide that driveway is? How long? How many feet?
It's 5 feet from the prop.
Yeah, you should go up, please.
This distance.
Tom Brault, Woodside. Thank you very much for a very valid question and concern. It's very smart. Let me just say, we don't mind moving the building forward, all right? What I would suggest you do is you ask the county, and we will do it for you, all right? Yes. We had it forward, the county asked us to move it back, so we're okay either way. Let me explain the county's position and not our position. It's 5 feet from here to there, plus another 5 feet there, 10 feet, the majority of cars would work. It's also a 2-car garage, it's a 20-foot unit, so they each can pull in, so there's a fair amount of room. Not only is there room for 1 car in the county's view, but 2 cars. And I think there's an enhanced walkway being planned already, and I think there's enhanced plantings being planned by the county. We're just going to help all that over here. And if that answers the question.
Very few cars are 10 feet or less in length.
We agree. We're happy to do it.
Yeah.
Tell them.
To add on to what Mr. Brault said, in working with the county, earlier iterations had all 6 units staggered up closer to Knowles. The county's position as they related to us during a DRB was they didn't like the idea of creating such a canyon along Knowles with what potentially could be developed on the north side, and then this, what they wanted was to pull these units back off of Knowles to create more space and let more light in along Knowles, which is how
Yeah.
we ended up here.
So those of us who focus on Kaiser Place pay the price for that. The other thing that's sort of unfortunate with these plans, but unavoidable, is that there is a very nice, mature, flowering magnolia tree about here that would be destroyed in building this building. So we're increasing the tree canopy, yes, but we're losing a very nice tree. And again, I appreciate the work that the DRB has done, and say I can certainly disagree with the county if they're forcing things like this on us. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the audience? Helen? Just name and street, please.
Helen Wilkes, Prospect Street. I just want to make 3 points. I'm already on record as being disappointed that the town entrance, the major entrance into the town, will be flanked by townhouses. But this being the case, I recognize that that the designers and the developer have struggled with making this work and I appreciate all the good things that are happening about the surrounding the green space. That is one of the pieces of the Kensington character that is being carried forward here. And I just wanted to say regarding the concern about cars poking out, I mean, there are garages in the townhouses, so enforcement, it seems to me, would be in order here. I mean, some of these new developments are going to obligate the town to make sure that everybody's following the law or the ordinances and enforcing is needed. So that seems reasonable to expect. And with that, I can segue into my concern. One of my big concerns with the Design Review Board has been that traffic has become de facto the major driver for design decisions in the town. That concerns me greatly because there's a lot more to the sector plan than just traffic considerations. And further to that, I believe that traffic is going to happen no matter what. We are subject to a flow of traffic twice a day, one way in the morning, the other way in the afternoon. So, to me, the traffic that is worth adding to the town which is town-based. Those same people who move into our town, whether they have cars or not, are going to, in fact, be the people who are the best customers for our new businesses, the people who might walk across the street to the restaurants. I think we ought to be serving the town first and not capitulating to fears about traffic. So whether we add 1 car, 6 cars, 20 cars with each new development, in the long term, the long game, I think that what matters the most is that we're doing good design and that we're creating all the other aspects of the sector plan that have been promised: a better pedestrian environment, the better businesses to serve the residents, better sidewalks, all of the things that we all want. The highways are a major problem, but that's where, again, legislating or advocating, getting in the expertise that we need to improve the traffic considerations is going to be something that we're not going to be able to escape, it seems to me. But I hope that we do not evade a responsibility to honor the best that the sector plan can offer us in terms of carrying forward the character of the town, respecting it, creating businesses that serve the town, creating urban edges where they make sense, like we have the urban edge in the commercial area along Howard Avenue. I would rather have seen in this particular place an urban edge that had commercial below and residential above. There are so many different ways to handle all this stuff. You know, we could market to millennials who these days are not driving cars to the extent that most of the rest of us are. And we have a train station. You know, start marketing to Capitol Hill workers or something so that they take the train in. So there are multiple ways to address this, but I just don't want to do the simplistic thing of capitulating to traffic woes and traffic concerns, which are here to stay no matter what we do. I just think that I would like to see everybody consider more holistically what decision-making goes on regarding design in the town. And I just wanted to add to what Tom's had to say about his Knowles Station, that if anybody went to the program on design and development review in the town, which happened back in September, you understand that there are a couple of kinds of development. One is by right development, where existing conditions dictate that a developer does not need to go get the full review in order to do a project.
And planning never saw that project.
Well, right. So the opportunities to impact what happens there are not as many as we might have in a process like this that has to go through a public hearing process. So in that case, again, I'm advocating for better design guidance and design guidelines, in my book, would be the thing we need, where we actually study all the sites that can be developed in town and redeveloped, and decide as a town what it is that we'd like to see happen there or not happen there, and give that information to a potential developer like Tom. If he had come through and we'd had that information at the ready for him, we would have had an outcome where people aren't complaining about some of the things that didn't happen there due to lost opportunities. So I'm going to keep beating these drums, and so thank you for hearing me out and bearing with me.
I'm Jack Gaffney, Frederick Avenue. Just aesthetically, it sort of bothers me that the line of the building is not parallel to Kaiser Place. And aesthetic also for a practical reason. Can you put back view C?
Tell me when I get there, Jack.
That one.
Okay.
C. You notice that the driveway for this house is shorter than the others. And following up what Jody said, this car actually sticks into the street, whereas and maybe this will, whereas these don't. If the thing were rotated so that the line of the building was parallel to Kaiser Place, all the driveways would be equal length, long enough to park a car and not have it stick into the street.
Awesome. Thank you, Jack.
Thanks, Jack.
Does anyone else have a comment? Good. Hunter? Darren, do you want to add anything?
No, I don't think so.
So at this point, yeah, just leave it with the DRB's recommendation for support. What that support is up to the council. The applicant is moving forward, and I believe has their next engagement with the county on March 16, 17? What's your next date?
We resubmit the plan on or before March 18th.
March 18th.
And then the community will have all the opportunity
Right.
at the county level.
So
Okay, yeah,
I'm
you
going to
really shouldn't
repeat
talk
for
there,
him.
Yeah,
So the
please repeat it.
applicant has to resubmit this plan to county by March 18th, at which time it then starts a whole new public process that is open for additional review and comment by the public. But what they've asked is if we are in support of this, that if we could send a letter or demonstrate our support prior to March 18th, something that they can include in their application packet.
Okay. So you want to make a motion?
I have another comment.
Mhm.
I mean, since we don't know what's gonna happen with the current HOC building, I agree with Mr. Bartram and Jack's comments that we shouldn't be encouraging cars parked poking out into the street. It's not appropriate. We don't know what's gonna happen there, so I don't understand why, just as the other end of the development is set back, why they wouldn't encourage setting that end back to just
Do you
park
want
more
to
appropriately.
put that concern in the letter and just
I would
state
like
that we have concerns about the parking in the back, extending into the street?
I mean, if we knew it was gonna be a park across the street, that'd be a different story maybe.
Mhm.
But we don't know, so I would love that if we could at least suggest it back again.
Mhm.
And I've certainly heard the developer be amenable to moving it. And so I guess the task would be to convince planning department, planning
Well,
staff.
perhaps we can advise planning of our concern of the HOC, the Kensington Elementary School property is in flux right now, and we don't know exactly what's going to happen there, and that, I mean, there'll still be recreational area in the back, but, right now, their plan showed actually a parking lot, but that whole plan just needs to be rethought out anyway, that's not gonna fly. But, I think we could highlight that as a concern.
And I do think if we fail, we do have our own code enforcement person who could, she's friendly at first. who can encourage, I mean, if it's a two-car garage, you put your cars in the garage. If you buy a house with a 5 or 8 foot long driveway, you probably need to park your car in the garage, not fill it with junk.
You could always paint something in the street if you're over this line, the yellow line, you will get a ticket. Is there any other thoughts we want to add to that letter, or?
Any other concerns? Otherwise, I would make a motion that we write a letter of support for the project, stating a letter of support for the project to Montgomery County Parks and Planning, with the caveat that we have a concern about the southern boundary line and asking them to review potentially shifting the project north a couple of feet to ensure that parking is self-contained within the footprint of the applicant,
Okay,
of the property.
is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
You always have vote me,
yeah. Are you opposed?
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Connor, please draft a letter and then circulate it to the council.
Yes, ma'am.
And then we can get it out before Tom's meeting.
The only other comment I'd make is to the public, a lot of faces here that have been at those DRB meetings, and thank you. Keep coming. We will keep noticing any DRB meetings. They are open to the public. I know commenting is restricted, but we do very much like having residents and neighbors come in and join us at the DRB.
And comments are always made after the meeting, so
Yeah.
they do hear them.
We stick around.
Yeah, and as Councilmember Crimmins said, there are absolutely opportunities on the planning level to go to hearings or to send letters of your concern as well. So there'll be other opportunities. Okay, thank you very much, Tom. Thank you. Did you have a question? Just come to the.
I just wanted to thank everybody in the community and thank the council. Councilmember Bridget, I would like to address your concern on the movement to the north, because I am very concerned about it. You mentioned that perhaps we should have done something different to take people off of Knowles on the northern side around Wine and Co. So I just want to let everybody know we're not required, but we're going to be building an extra sidewalk movement over the next couple of months because we're opening a new store called Pliables. It's healthy food. It's Asiables. It's a really great place.
Is this a commercial?
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, that's.
You're making a plan.
I just want to. We're going to make a movement so no one will be required to walk along that frontage of Knowles between the Nineco, and they can walk up and go to the sidewalks and get off the street in total.
Great, thank you very much.
Valid concern is appreciated.
Okay, thank you. All right, number 2, town composting update. Connor, again?
Yep. So again, Matt and I had worked with Compost Crew as we had a pilot program going with them. I think their final count was 28 homes are currently signed up for curbside pickup, and they have 3 different types of community programs that they are working on. One includes a municipality fully subsidizing, one includes a municipality partially subsidizing, and one is just a community partnering with a community for outreach. And that is where we're starting our efforts. So we are working on a volunteer ad hoc committee of members who are already Compost Crew in the pilot that would work with myself, Matt, Carrie Ann, the town, and Compost Crew to build kind of a rollout of this to include being at the farmers market a couple of Saturdays where people can come and learn about the program. They can learn what the reduced pricing of the program is by joining it. With Compost Crew, they have price breakpoints. Obviously, we're at 28 houses. If we get to 30, it goes down, like $1 or 40 cents. But if we get up to 75 households and above, the price for every household reduces several dollars to where it is less than $20 a month to have curbside pickup. They provide, there's a bucket, you pay one time, you get a bucket, they come, they take it away every Friday, and then in the spring you get a bag of compost that is made through, these composting materials. So at this point, we just want to start a community outreach program. We want to make it, the community more aware of what's going on, about what is being offered, about how you can opt in, educate people on what can be composted. It's actually quite a bit more than I realized. And then for those who would like to opt in, whether it's coming to a farmer's market and signing up and getting a bucket that day, or working through the town to sign up and compost crew will drop the bucket off on Friday. So over the next couple of months, we will develop more or less an outreach campaign with compost crew. We will put it on our website, we will put it in the newsletter, we will plug it here at the town council meetings, and then we will specifically identify dates where compost crew will join us at the farmer's market and then advertise those out as well.
Of course, the people we're trying to reach are town residents, correct? Because we do get a lot of people who aren't. So it's, because I was thinking, day of the book, we do that, but then it's like so many people that aren't.
Yes, for our residents, they want to keep track so that they can make sure that, obviously, all new signups are credited toward getting to that 75 number. But compost crew, as Matt and I talked to them, identified that they are shifting their strategy a little, as opposed to just being specific municipalities or neighborhoods, to more of like a catchment area. And so they want to build routes, because if they can build a route where they have a density of homes that are signed up, then they have one truck going out, kind of like we do with our refuse, that is just servicing that area all day long and then driving back over to PG where it all gets dumped at the farm. So they're looking at building a route that more or less starts at the Chevy Chase Circle, comes north along Connecticut Avenue, is hitting multiple different municipalities and neighborhoods along that area. So a lot of the area that is serviced by, the residents who are coming to our farmers market might end up being in that route.
Okay, so you could have a map, and if those people are within that
Right.
area, we could sign them up and we get a discount on that.
That's what we're, yes, so that's all part of
That's
what
good,
we're
that
working on
actually
with.
widens
Yep.
the map.
And so, obviously, the biggest thing is to the town, and big picture is this gets food waste and food scraps out of our garbage stream and into a stream that repurposes it, turns it into usable compost that then gets delivered back to the customers, and you can put it into your gardens, you can put it in your flower beds,
Okay, cool. Any of the council have any questions? Anyone from the audience have a question about composting? Okay, thank you. All right, thank you very much. Okay, number 3, Kensington Dog Park. Jessica Chertoff? Yeah, we have it.
Okay.
We got it.
Good, good, okay.
Yep. Nope, we're good. So just go up front, give your name and your street. That's fine, everybody come up.
Okay, so let me just introduce myself, and then I'm going to introduce the Dog Run Committee. This is a group effort, so we're going to each speak upon the different items here, but I just wanted to give a really just brief update on this effort, and I know this is the first time council has actually seen it, so really the purpose is to provide an update to council as well as the public on our efforts with regards to the dog run. So a while back, I've been talking with Tracy for a long time about trying to find an appropriate space for this, for a dog park or run for our community, and this has been an ongoing discussion. I think there were challenges that we needed to address. Individuals didn't want a dog run to be close to their house, understandably. So and then there were other places in the town that we were looking at, and those were actually county land. So we were running into some challenges in actually finding appropriate places to put this dog run. Dwayne, I believe, identified this land and then moved this forward and helped us really move this forward. So right now we found property right on Metropolitan, kind of right down the hill from the actual train station, and I'll show you actually here's the actual address, 1040 Metropolitan Avenue. It's right across from Trick Trucks. But I'll show you kind of a picture up. There's there's Jody. It looks bare right now. Imagine we're gonna have trees here. I didn't get a view of the hill, but there's a hill here, and then the entranceway here. We do have some picnic tables there, and Mark's gonna talk about an idea of putting a shade structure here as in the form of a gazebo. The ground cover looks really good. We had a little bit of challenges with our ground cover during the wet area, and also placement, but it's hard now, and it's really nice. You see Jody's, that's my puppy.
Hank, little Hank.
Okay, so Jason, I got the other, I couldn't find my image of your other side, but if you haven't been there, we have a project that's going on there. This property used to be the concrete factory in the town, and so there's 10 concrete pillars that line the property. And what we've done is we have a program where we're soliciting artists to actually draw and paint murals that are dog related on each of the columns. And so right now, John's going to talk a little bit about our artists, but one of our artists is Jason, and I got your size, so this is as you're looking at the pillar, but there's a really wonderful mural on the other side, so if you guys want to stop by, it's really worthwhile your time to take a look at what Jason did. So I asked each of the dog artists to kind of put their mark on each one of the columns, and I just want, so Maxie is one of our young artists. I believe she was going to be here, so maybe she'll come.
Maxie's mom is here.
Oh, Maxie! Okay.
Good enough, good enough.
So Maxie, yes. Maxie kind of marked her column. So that's going to be Maxie's column. This is that's my dog, that's Scarlett, and this is my daughter, but I also just wanted to alert, someone else just painted.
Oh, really? Since
So-
Saturday?
Saturday, someone showed up.
Oh my
So
gosh.
again,
Wow.
so there's another column that you can see here painted. I wanted to show you all. I actually don't know exactly who did this one, so I gotta find out, but it's really wonderful. Again, very bright colors. It pops. when
Did
you
they just
come in.
do the front and not the
They
sides?
just did the front.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, just this thing.
Right.
Just this thing. So, for those that are interested, we do have a sign that states all of our rules and regulations. We are under the county code, the ordinance and code, so that if there are issues that pop up, there are mechanisms to address that. And then we just want to say that please save the date. We are going to have an official opening of the park. Right now, we haven't really outwardly communicated it too much. We really wanted to get it going before the real opening happens. And we're just going to partner with Mark and the dog parade, and our date is May 16th, so save the date. The time, I don't know exactly what time yet, Mark, but we'll work it out. And then the location we believe is going to be in Warner Circle.
I thought it was Flynn Park.
Oh,
Is
maybe
that?
Flynn, sorry.
Can I tell?
Yeah, when you,
Start at Flynn, we're gonna go through this, around the
Circle.
circle, down Howard, across the
Okay.
tracks to the
Okay.
dog park.
Sorry.
so
about
start at,
Sorry, we'll end
okay,
And we'll end at the dog run, so
And I
we'll
think
take
it's
a,
9:30, but I'll confirm.
okay.
okay.
Shouldn't be talking back there, but that's okay.
And then more details will come. And then I did want to just really extend a really warm thank you, a really huge thank you to Mayor Tracy and also the council for supporting this effort, and then all the members of the dog run committee. So I'm going to now go back to our agenda slide, sorry. Oops. And then we'll just get Mark, you want to talk about fundraising efforts that we've got going?
Hi, I'm Mark Hudson, I'm on the committee. We talked about in the committee putting up some kind of structure, shade structure, gazebo type thing. I pass out to the council and anybody else I can pass this out to when I leave. It's a 12 by 16 gazebo. It's, this is from Costco. The cost of this is $2,700, and I've gotten an estimate to install footers, which you have to put in the ground and everything, and then installation of about $4,000. So budgeting wise, probably about $7,000. We're offering and we sent out something went out on the listserv for residents. If they wanted to have a little sign with their dog name or whatever on it, it's $100. And so far, we've gotten 6 of those back, and businesses $300. And so far, we've gotten 6 of those back. So right now, we're at 2,400, and that's, to be honest, we really haven't made much of an effort. We'll make more of an effort. I dropped off 2 today that expressed an interest. That's not included in the 2,400. So the goal is to raise, $4,000 to $6,000 towards the 7. I could see us getting to 7. It depends, but we'll raise at least 4,000. I'm very confident of.
Okay.
So what we'd like to do is get approval to do that so we can get it up in April with a budget of around $7,000.
Okay.
Any questions? Anybody would like to see kind of what we're proposing, just let me know.
It does not include the furniture in the picture.
No, it doesn't. Oh, I forgot. We do have these little stickers that look like this. The Euro stickers, the plastic ones that go on the back of cars and stuff.
I have some on my desk. I didn't go upstairs because Matt's dog was there and she gets very excited when she sees me.
So we have 500 of those, which we'll hand out.
I will put them in the council's mailbox. I didn't
Okay.
get enough for everybody, so.
So we have 500, we have plenty. The plan is to do the last year's dog parade was very successful, we
Yes.
felt. It was sponsored by McInerney, and I would guess we had 50 to 60 dogs at least. And I think this year we'll have more. We do a lot of advertising for it. But instead of ending at the circle, we're going to kind of do a circle and then end up at the dog
Are
park.
you going to have the vendors at the dog park?
Probably,
Okay,
yeah.
good.
Which was popular last year.
Mhm,
We had some good
mhm.
vendors there.
Mark, is there seats inside the gazebo? Or
We
is
can do
there-
whatever we want. Like, I was thinking, my personal opinion is we put one of the picnic tables there, and maybe some seats or 2 picnic tables.
Right, and we can get a couple of benches, add more benches. So
Yeah.
that's easy.
But I know like at our pool, we do
They're not
picnic
Victor's
tables
standard.
under there, and that's the most popular thing.
Which
for
ones?
people. At our pool, we do picnic tables
Right,
under the gazebos.
Yes.
And that's nice because people can face each other and
Yeah.
whatnot.
mhm. And the dogs seem to like to stand on them too. I've seen that. Any questions for Mark? Good? No? Okay.
I'm John Gerson from Washington Street, and a member of the committee. So for those of you who remember this, what this area used to look like 20 years ago, it really is extraordinary to take what was a concrete plant making noise and dumping excess materials all over the sidewalk into an area that really everyone can enjoy. And Jessica's vision and her tenacity in hanging in there, along with the support of the mayor and council, really is making for something that I think is going to be really special and nice in the town. So art helps to give a community character and definition, and accordingly, as those of you familiar with the site know, there are the 10 concrete structures, about 12 feet tall by 4 to 5 feet wide, with actually 3 sides. And so we were seeking local artists to help enhance the existing space with creative dog-themed imagery. And we already have 6 wonderful artists who've committed to share their talent. Jason Swain, who's a member of the town staff, featuring local pets on a meadow background. Charlotte Cornett, who's doing a mural of dogs meeting and playing together. Tom Rutke, doing kind of a whimsical dog-related message. Fiona Malcolm, who's doing kind of a variation of what you see there. Karen Alverbach and her children. Karen's also a town resident and is doing silhouette images of dogs. And Andrea Stump, who is doing a dog-themed abstract with bubble-like images and vectors with a spray paint as a medium over a latex base. So for those of you who are good at math, those are 6, which leaves 4 for additional artists. The town is providing grants, reimbursing each artist for supplies up to $100. The artist needs to supply their own ladders and assume all risk from injury in doing the work. But anyone who's interested or knows someone who might be interested in submitting a proposal should send an email with a brief description, a narrative, or sketch to Jessica Chertow, CHERTOW @gmail.com.
Sure.
She probably has a real name, too.
I actually am Andrea Stumpf, so it's not Andrea who's doing the art.
Oh, okay.
It's my daughter, Maxie, who's going to do the art. So I am so sorry that I'm the one here today, and Maxie is so sorry that she's not here today, but she has been in bed since Friday, sick.
Oh, dear.
And the last thing I wanted to do was have her come here. We think it's the flu. She's really been in not great shape. But we were looking forward to coming, and we really thank all of you. It's such a cool thing. We were kind of late figuring out that this is going on, but we're happy to come on board, and so thank you, Jessica. We also met Jason at the dog park and got a little tutorial and some explanations on, you know, how you did yours and how we can do ours. My daughter is 14. She's in 8th grade. She has not actually done a mural, but is extremely inspired by this, so I really love that you're making this opportunity available so that people can try this out. She's very interested in doing the spray paint version of this, and her absolute favorite film is Spider-Verse, so you can probably figure out where some of the inspiration comes from. I have just very briefly the drawing, so it's fairly abstract. I don't think you can see this very well. It's got kind of these bubble features and vectors and different things, but she wants it to really be colors that pop, so this is just what she did in one of her math classes while she was trying to spend the time. So these strong colors, our understanding is it's both sides, right? So I think we'll do this kind of phase. She'll do one side,
4 sides.
come back and four
No,
sides,
no,
and come
not
back
worth
and
the
do the
four
other.
side.
And now that we have the May 16th date, we know what to work towards.
Great.
We've been kind of waiting for the weather to
Yeah.
get warmer to be able to do this. And as Jason told us, we really need to scrub the surface, clean it up first. And I don't know if there's water nearby. That was going to be one of
No.
our questions. Okay.
Silver Creek.
It would be really important to have water for there's no way to reach over to trick trucks and
Oh. They might fill your bucket.
yeah. But I hope you get to meet Maxie at some point. I don't know if a future meeting, maybe she'll give an update or something. But again, sorry that I'm the one, but she's the one who's super excited.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Tracy, did you want to?
Could I say something?
Just come to the mic.
Thanks.
Give your name.
Yeah, my name's Tom Rutke, and
Oh,
Hi.
you're here. I'm sorry. Good
That's
to
okay.
see you.
That's all right.
It is.
And I grew up in that neighborhood next to the concrete plant. So from the time I was old enough to go down to Ford's Pharmacy, and you know, the environment of Kensington was like my playground. So when the opportunity came to use those pillars in this way, it was a natural kind of gravitational pull for me to get involved. And I'm an art teacher at Albert Einstein High School, and so...
So you know others that could help paint too.
Well, I don't know if you've talked to any high school kids lately, but,
Oh.
you know, trying to get, I mean, SSL hours are a possibility, but...
Hey, $100.
That goes to
For
$100
receipts.
and paint does
I know,
not go
that's
very
true.
far.
That's true.
So it's not about the money, that's
Yeah.
for sure. In terms of my desire to get involved, but I live in Gare Park actually, so you know, I haven't strayed too far, and it's just, I think, a really exciting thing to utilize that space for this purpose, and I know it's going to be really popular. So.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Good meeting you. I'm sorry I didn't know you were here, so thank you.
What's that? I know, right?
See you around there. Okay, everybody, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Nice to meet you.
Oh, do we need approval? Do we need approval from council to order the cabana?
We'll talk about that after you're done with your presentation. So just to finish on the ground cover, and just for clarification, I did thank Councilmember Rollins for nagging me about all the stuff that had been left on the property, and which actually put my attention on the property. And standing there with the owner of the property, the idea came into my head, wow, this would make a really good dog park. So without Dwayne being a nag, sorry Dwayne, I would not have gone over there to really think about using that space, because I was just assuming that's where they were using to store stuff. So it all worked out really well. And as far as the ground cover, the crews got it started, and then we had NZI do some grading, and then they had the right machinery to do the compressing. So we're in good shape right now. You know, long term, because the property doesn't belong to us, it was a concrete plant, so drainage is always going to be a bit of a problem because there's a lot of concrete under there. So, you know, until the day comes that perhaps we are able to get the property, we're not going to put that much money into it, but, you know, a fence and things like that. But the owner was very funny when I was talking to him about it. He said, well, if you want to take up those piers, you're more than welcome to do it. And I was like, you know, I think we're just going to leave those there.
Jason's
But-
got a shovel, right?
Yeah.
Just get on it.
But I have to say, it was the dog run committee who really took, no, let's turn this into art, and which is wonderful. So thank you for that idea. So Evan, or Jody, sorry.
I'm Jody Krieger, Lexington Court. So I've looked into the use of canine grass in the park. This would be something for the future. We would not do it until we knew we had a definite permanent park, because it's way too expensive. But it's very durable. It would last for over 15 years, and we wouldn't have any kind of mud issues or cleanliness issues with the dogs after they've been in the park. So it's something to really keep in mind if we get to a permanent park. And one of the ways we could keep the price down is if we did a border around the perimeter of maybe the ground, the gravel dust that we currently have, and putting the canine grass in the center of it. But I'm just sharing it with you, but it's just for the future.
How does, not to get into the weeds on this, but when the dog defecates on it and it's like loose, is there, what? We all have dogs here. How does that work?
I don't know.
Okay.
Just like you scoop it up.
Well, I know, I just, you know, I guess until it rains, it's hard to, yeah.
It drains, I mean, you know, I think the maintenance on this is
It's
very-
pretty good,
is
yeah.
really very little.
Okay.
You know, and also, you know, they say 15 years, but, you know, depending on the usage,
Right.
it could be longer.
Yeah.
So if we ever have a permanent location, it's definitely something to think about.
Okay.
But it would take a lot of fundraising.
Right, well, I do understand why the county doesn't put it in, because it's so expensive.
You know, I had gotten a price for the whole park, which was $70,000. The price for just the hill was $17,000.
Yeah.
Because it's such a small space, the price, it's not pro rata.
Right.
So we would, you know, we could maybe get it for $50,000 if we
Right.
did perimeter.
Okay.
But, okay, just wanted to.
All right, thank you, Jody.
Hi, Evan Reynolds, Oberon Street, and I was given the task of finding or looking into the pricing for agility equipment, ramps, hoops, and that sort of thing that get the dogs through. At the very top end, just so you know, we've got from Home Depot $10,000 for a 12-piece set. Now, that's ostensibly commercial grade, but I'm here to tell you that I went and looked at it, and it'd be fine for your backyard with 1 or 2 dogs, but if you're going to have 15, 20, 30, however many dogs there are, it will not last. It's a bad investment, in my opinion. So individually, there are some ramps that you can get that are anywhere between $1,000 and $1,500, even up to $2,000, depending on how fancy you get. And there's also some tunnels that are all in the $1,000 range. So we could cobble something together for maybe $3,000, $4,000 that would involve 4 disparate pieces of equipment. But having said all that, I had a further discussion one day with Mayor Tracy at the dog park, and she put me onto the idea that our friend here, Jason Swain, suggested that he could get pallets of stone for a cost of about $1,200, $1,500, is that what you told me? Yeah, and in addition to that, a pipe of some sort that could function as a tunnel and constructed in that fashion, having it look a little more rough-hewn than some of these items that you could buy ready-made, with the possible temporary nature of the dog park. Seems to me that's a better idea, but that's obviously going to be your decision. The other thing you mentioned is from a sustainability standpoint, if somehow or another the dog park doesn't work out or we go with some other form of agility equipment, he could reuse all of that material in some other portion of the town. That's pretty much all I have.
Okay. Jason, do you want to speak to what you were planning? I know Cabin John has rocks that they've stacked with a tube and very popular with the dogs.
Jason Swain, Ferndale Street, Kensington. Yeah, I was talked with, what's his name? Evan.
You just know Fenster.
Yeah, I went to Jack Irwin Stone and priced some pallets of natural stone, different shapes, sizes, whether they're flat, upright, and sort of make them your ramps as far as coming from the ground up in different arrangements that are sort of aesthetically pleasing and, you know, nice looking, and incorporate. I was talking to the guys from Main Roads Department, and they have these big, massive plastic drain pipes they use for drains that could be incorporated with the rocks, secured into the ground. You know, of course, safely put in so it's not going to shift and everything's stacked right, but a little bit more natural looking. We could incorporate some logs here and there as well, but I just think down the road, if you have to pack up and get out of there, you can take them rocks anywhere in town and create another garden with it. So they're going to be used somewhere, versus your specialised dog equipment's going to get probably pitched. You know, so.
These little tunnels that we're talking about, do we have to worry about them heating up and then burning?
Well, I know the ones in at Cabin John are concrete. I don't think, you were talking about a
No, I'm talking about
PVC?
plastic
I'm
ones.
thinking about the slides,
Yeah,
you know, in
plastic
the
ones,
summer.
But like with those ones, if you're worried about heat, you just cover them.
Right, yeah, we're doing rock.
There you go.
Be under
Yeah.
the rock.
Yeah,
Right.
it'll be covered with,
Question
like I said, the
answered.
rocks are going to be incorporated with the pipe, and as far as like heating up, whatever, it can be covered too. So,
Right,
yeah, there's a lot of options really.
okay.
I'm gonna stay in my lane. That is not my lane.
And there'll be some more paintings coming up. I've got some more people that want dogs put in.
Yes, Jason would be more than happy
Would you like a blue-eyed,
to be-
bow-legged?
I've
Jack
got
Russell,
people
perhaps?
from overseas want to put their dog on
They're commissioning work now on the piers, which is great. The more dogs, the better. And we are not accepting cats, I know that. Probably not popular.
You can bring your,
You can bring your cat if you, as long as it's on a leash.
If we bring our livestock on a leash.
Yeah,
That's right.
bring your
2
livestock.
bags.
Yeah.
Mm,
2 bags.
I
think about that
that's,
cost.
is that all you need?
I think that's all I need,
Okay.
yeah. So Mark, you're looking at raising about, you said 5,000?
Yeah.
You need about 8,000? So
About 7.
7? So, but if we can get it ordered now, start ordering it now, so it's,
You go in and
okay. So, so we'll need a motion to allow the order to start going through, and then we'll get reimbursed for up to $5,000. Matt, does that work? Because that can come out of the CIP?
Yeah, that would just come
Out of the parks
CIP.
budget or the
Yeah.
CIP?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you guys incorporate as a nonprofit, or how did you? or
No,
did
no,
nothing?
they're just a ad hoc
We're an ad hoc.
committee.
I own your domain, because I don't know if you remember,
yes, I do
but we
remember.
did this like 3 years
Started
ago.
it.
I would very much like to transfer that to you.
Just save
Why did you create a
$5,000.
domain?
A domain?
I think there was an idea with Carr and Aberbeck like way back.
Yeah.
Trying to get like
People
some people
interested.
Actually more so probably for fundraising and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, it might be helpful to you, and then I don't have to keep forgetting I have it and see it. Yeah, so I would like to give that to you. Okay.
That sounds great.
Okay.
Basically, the other thing I I just wanted to mention, we were there the other day, and just in this one space, there is a place where I think it looked like it was a more moist patch.
Actually,
There was some fabric that was coming up. I think they laid fabric down. There was some, it's a piece of cloth.
Okay.
So I just wanted, maybe NZI could go back and take a look at that. I don't know if it's,
On the park. I did see what she was talking about.
it's a piece of, like a black.
Right. He did say that maybe putting the, Jack had suggested a location for the pavilion. Just check that with him in the
Okay.
areas that may,
Okay.
just check it, so we'll check
Yeah,
on
I
that.
don't know if it was part of NZI.
Yeah, because we
It's
were
probably-
thinking the far corner for that.
I think that was the same area he's talking about.
This, well, the flap was in,
It
kind
was
of more
in the
central.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
So we would need a motion to authorize Matt to go ahead and purchase the gazebo, at least it says that in here. And then the goal would be to get reimbursed at least $5,000 through donations.
So it's under $10,000,
Yeah.
so the town can just purchase it.
Okay, you don't need a
without-
motion from us? Okay.
Technically, no. I mean, and then if we receive fundings, we'll just be put in the
Back in the
miscellaneous
CIP.
funds. you know.
Okay. Is there any objection to that? Everybody's in agreement? Good?
No objection.
Okay, all right, you good?
I just want to say one other thing.
Mhm.
The park is really wonderful. If you haven't been there yet, taking your dog there, you really should. It's a wonderful space, and we need more dogs there. And tell your neighbors about it, because it really is a great addition.
It is kind of a bummer you get there and there's no doggy friends.
Yeah, my dog's very disappointed every time we go.
We need to hook up because Abby liked Hank.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hank, she loved to chase him, so that was fun.
I really encourage everyone to go
We need
visit
to
the
advertise
space.
about happy hour.
Yes.
Actually, not a bad idea.
Helpful with that would be a website that I don't maintain.
Well, I don't think we want to get overly popular, but I think the grand opening will help introduce the park as well.
You can sell the domains.
Yeah,
It had a very high estimate.
really.
Shockingly so.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, well, thank you very much. All right, before we move on to, from the town manager and the staff, Darren, is there anything you would like to announce?
You mean like a traffic committee meeting?
A traffic committee meeting, absolutely.
There's a traffic committee meeting on March 19th, at 7 o'clock here in the back room, I guess.
In the back room.
Come if you're interested in traffic. We'll post an agenda, it'll be on the town website, so.
Okay. Thank you. And I'm sorry, you said the 19th?
Yes.
Okay.
And you said there were gonna be cookies, right?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Just gotta get
Bridget,
there. No.
Bridget, anything you wanna?
No.
Okay. Well,
Oh, did you mean Bridget was gonna make the cookies?
she's more into brownies.
Hey,
Yeah.
oh.
Oh, boy.
Don't discriminate against bacon.
Okay, focus. Councilmember Rollins?
I just have a question.
Uh-huh.
I'm glad Jason's here. Do we have any plans to reseal I'm not even sure what we call it, where the concerts occur, the wooden structure? Because I noticed when I walked by the other day, it looks like
The pergola.
Pergola.
the wood is very dry. The pergola, yeah, thank you.
It's the one at POB, Prevention of Blindness,
It was the Howard Avenue Park.
Howard Avenue
Yeah.
Park, yes.
You're talking about
The pergola.
The pergola.
Oh, okay.
To reseal it,
Yeah.
maybe put a,
Yeah, just need some, I have some stuff called, I call it Sickens. It's a water sealer.
Is it, not to get in the weeds, but is it spray or roll on?
It's a roll on.
Yeah. I mean, I'll volunteer. I'll come help to do it, but it just looks like it needs
Can I
it.
get that in writing?
Sure.
what is happening? Okay.
Yeah, no, 'cause we have a bunch of different, we have polyurethane as well, we work on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, when I was pulling out the television, I saw the canvas. So I was thinking about that as well. So maybe before we put that up. Yeah, because I know Joe's,
Try to put it on the right way this time.
yeah, you did last year. And it's probably just not too long before the fountain can get turned back on too.
Yeah, that's right.
And you have the little rubber things because you didn't give those back to me.
Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah, I do, yes.
Yeah, okay. So you didn't give them back.
Okay, yeah, no, we can put a polyurethane on that.
Cool.
That's no big deal.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Joe's a former painter,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, we've got some project going with, what's the lady's, green committee?
Oh, Angie Freeman?
She wants to replace.
Yeah, she needs some topsoil.
Yeah. that's
Yeah,
gonna be
she
fun.
says the topsoil in there is awful.
Yeah,
So that's a good job for Pablo
I think so.
when he gets back. He's back next week?
Next Tuesday, yeah.
Okay.
And then just one other quick question about this mixed moving trucks that are always, every day of the week, parked on the lawn at the gun shop. I mean, it looks terrible. It just looks terrible. Do we know if we've given any citations for that, or?
Still public access?
We've had some issues with them on dumping. This is, I know what you're talking about with the moving
Yeah.
company up there.
Yeah.
I'll check with Annie.
Okay.
So, when you say mixed moving,
That's the name of
Oh,
on the
okay.
side of the trucks.
okay,
MIC.
Yeah,
Okay.
MIC.
okay,
It just looks awful.
all right.
No, okay. Thank you, appreciate it.
All right, Connor?
Since Jason's here, just a big shout out to the crew for putting down new sod at St. Paul Park. It's all starting to come together. It's looking great. And Matt's got some new basketball nets that are going to be going up. So really appreciate it. I mean, on a day like today, the park was, and yesterday too, absolutely slammed. I know we have NZI. It's in the NZI for the parking pad along St. Paul Street.
As well as the sidewalk is gonna get
Yep.
redone as well.
Right, so the walking track within St. Paul Park will also be re-asphalted, so that's great.
And we're gonna widen it.
That was our hope, is to
Yes.
widen it from the current roughly 4 feet to
Well, we wanted to do 4, and, I mean 5.
5.
5.
Mhm. So,
And then have it graded so it's, can drain.
a little bit of
Yeah.
crown. Mhm.
Yeah, we looked into the plexi track, or it's just too
Too
expensive.
expensive.
It's just way
Yep.
too expensive.
Are you covering anything on MCPS?
I am gonna
Perfect.
start that
Then I have
conversation, you
nothing
can
else.
tag on to that.
Sure,
Yeah,
that's it.
okay. All right, so before we talk about MCPS real quick, I want to remind the council, except for the traffic committee, that MML chapter meeting is Thursday, March 19th.
Now I know how this happened.
I know. That's at the county council building. We'll be meeting with the county council. So, starts at 6:30.
It was interesting last time.
Yeah, actually, the one that with Mark Eldridge was good
It was
last month.
interesting.
So, Julie O'Malley asked me to announce on on Saturday, March 14th, the Montgomery Preservation is doing their Historic Preservation Awards. And I'll be attending because the house on Washington Street, 3940 Washington Street, which is owned by Carla Alvarez, their house has won an award for the renovation. So, but it's open to the public. It will be at Grace Methodist Episcopal Church up in Gaithersburg. If anybody is interested, just let me know and I'll give you some information on that. And then, let's see, what else do we have? Just make sure
There's
I
a
got everything.
KHS meeting programming tomorrow.
KHS meeting is tomorrow. It's funny, she didn't remind me to tell people about that one. Yeah, that's about the being dry, the town being dry. And I believe, Jack, that's 6:30 as well?
7 on the town
I
calendar.
know, I think the 6:30 is when you can come from,
Oh,
No, so 7 o'clock is coffee and cookies.
Is coffee and cookies?
And the
Okay.
talk starts at 7:30.
Okay, thank you. The Greenscape Committee, I know it's a little short notice, but we decided today we're gonna meet, on March 11th, that's a Wednesday, at 9 a.m. And, we're going to be discussing, the Clum Kennedy Path, the, banner art, Flynn Park Ivy, and I think those are the main things that we'll be talking about. But we wanted to meet at 9 a.m. during the day so Jason could be there. Surprise! And Matt and possibly Carrie Ann. No, you're not taking off that day. I'm gonna have to. So anyway, so that'll be on Wednesday. So hopefully we can get that posted tomorrow, but nothing exciting. And the last thing, I did want to ask about food truck night. Because there's confusion with Dennis, so I just want a clarification.
Okay.
Is it once a month or twice a month?
Once a month.
Once-
Third Thursdays.
Okay.
Yep. And
Because
just
you had told
May
me
through
that,
September.
and then Jason, or he called me, changed it, and then it changed back. So I just want to be
I beat him severely
I-
for that error.
That's what you should.
Once a month.
Once a month on the
Yep,
3rd. Is
third
there a,
Thursdays.
when I talked to Dennis, he made it sound like he had everything covered. Are you not as,
No, I think we're covered.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, so we will still provide the crossing guards.
Okay.
Okay, so that's only 5 times in the summer, is that right?
5 times.
How's the word getting out for that? Just that people have
Same.
it kind of in their mind of first and third.
I always got the emails. That's how I know about it.
Well, and it'll be on the
Phase one.
postcard. We're getting ready to do the postcard,
right.
so I don't want to put it one way to have to
Yeah.
be wrong, so, okay. So I'm gonna write it down right now.
Yeah.
So May through September, and it's the 3rd Thursday.
Yes.
Okay, same time as before, which is like 5 to 8.
Yes.
Okay. And it's still on
Oh.
Armory Avenue.
And denizens will not be participating this season. We have a new brewer that was recommended by Julie at Denizens. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but.
They have beer.
They have beer, and
Okay.
they've committed to all 5 nights.
Okay, awesome, great. Okay, so that's 5 to 8, 3rd Thursday, May through September.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, thank you very
Thank
much. Going through my notes here, make sure I don't forget anything. Okay, briefly on the schools, I attended the North Bethesda Community Meeting. This is regarding, they always throw in boundaries, but it's really about the replacement of the elementary school. The Walter Johnson BCC cluster needs another. And I don't know why they put those together, because really all the sites are in the Walter Johnson cluster.
In
So
talking with the KP PTA reps, the county believes there's not enough projected enrollment for either cluster to have a individual extra elementary, but together in their proximity to each other, there is enough, and so they're going to do a joint 7th.
What's their number that they're trying to hit?
Well, it's that each school has a max that they're supposed to be programmed to, which is currently.
Well, 740 is what they now want schools to be able to hold.
Right, and some of the sites are challenging because they are smaller acreages, so they're looking at going more vertical than they are,
Wow.
hey, this came out of Philadelphia, so.
I'm not surprised. Sounds like a terrible idea.
But that's the reason behind the joint BCC-WJ is they don't see enough capacity solely in BCC, they don't see enough capacity solely in WJ, and so, but together there is. But to your point, all of the sites are within the WJ catchment area currently.
All right.
Where were those sites?
Well, the sites were Airlawn, which is where the YMCA is,
Oh, yeah.
and there was quite the crowd there opposed to picking that as a site for.
Really?
Oh yeah. Anyway, that actually was taken off the list. So the sites that remained after the community meeting was the WMAL, which is a redevelopment site, which is on Green Tree, 2 sites at White Flint. Grosvenor, Lynbrook, which I think that's in Bethesda somewhere, and then Kensington Elementary School. So that's how that was left at the community meeting. And then I went to a work session for the BOE, the Board of Education, and they really want Grosvenor as their holding school. Thank you. And but the community wants Grosvenor reopened. It's the largest, it's 10 acres, and they want their home school back, their community school back. But then they have no holding school if they were to do that. So I went to the hearing last week, And the cluster rep for, well, I'm sorry, let me go back to the work session. They determined that their first choice is going to be one of the development sites. But because they don't have a timeline for the development sites, and the money will be in the 2025 CIP, and then it takes a couple of more years to build the school, if the redevelopment is not happening, then they want a backup. And really, the only backups would be Kensington Elementary and Lynbrook. So,
They have to raise Kensington Elementary too?
they would.
Yeah.
Well, this is the thing, so let me,
Sorry.
so at each meeting, I've talked to Seth Adams, he's my new BFF, so we talk every meeting, and he indicated that they're looking at Kensington Elementary School for a pre-K. So at the first meeting, no interest in recreational use, it was just gonna be for pre-K.
To add on, pre-K is within the Kerwin Commission, so if this all passes,
Right.
there would be universal pre-K within Maryland, which doesn't exist today, but that's why one of the challenges they have is the current elementary schools, which are largely at capacity already,
Right.
don't have space
They don't have space for
pre-K
pre-K.
kids.
Yeah.
So that's why they were looking at.
And do you really want 3- and 4-year-olds with 5th graders?
Mine can hang it.
Well, anyway, yeah.
Mine's 9.
Pudge is a special
He's
breed.
pretty tough. Anyway, so that's where that was left.
Sure. Tell
And-
me when I'm allowed to ask questions.
Okay, I know. But then I went to the hearing, and it was interesting that the Walter Johnson cluster rep, I don't know where, whether she was approved to be, but that's how she was named, got up there, pleaded with them to do the Grosvenor, open Grosvenor, and make Kensington Elementary School the holding school.
Okay.
Now, Kensington Elementary School was built for 300 kids, not 740 kids. So now you're building 2 schools.
Right.
So that wasn't gonna fly.
Right.
So again, I talked to Seth because at the work session, I had told him that, Parkwood had approved this thing for a community center.
Right.
And that they'd like to see a community center there. And he just was like, oh, well, we're taking it back as a pre-K, So, but when I talked to him at the hearing, he said they're still doing pre-K, but they're looking at a recreational component to add to it, which is good.
It's all great, but
I know.
how?
I,
It's like Mary Poppins' purse.
I know.
Like, how is this
so anyway, so they have another work session on the 12th, which I'm going to go to. And because this is where they choose the backup site to the redevelopment sites. So really, I don't know what they're going to do. But, so we're either getting, at this point, it looks pretty clear that MCPS is taking the building back. It's very clear that at least for a while, it'll be used for pre-K. And then the question is, are they going to choose it as the backup for an elementary school should the development sites not develop in the timeline that they need? So that's kind of where we are right now.
Okay. Can I ask?
Yes,
Okay.
that's a good question.
So if they're doing that, they're using Kensington as a backup school or a holding school or whatever they want to do with it. I'm assuming that 300 kids isn't, like, space for 300
No,
kids isn't sufficient for any.
No, they can't use it for a holding school
Right.
without tearing it down and building a new school. And they're
Right.
not going to build 2 new schools.
To that point,
Right.
exactly. So
Well, I don't know where the Walter Johnson cluster rep thought about, oh, well, let's just put it at
she
Kensington
probably
Ele-"
just never saw it.
She probably never saw it and never paid any attention, but, she basically said, well, let's build 2 new schools.
Yeah.
That's basically what she said. So,
That's alarming.
Kendall was there.
Yeah.
Did you talk to
I
him? Because he
have.
got out before
Yeah. And I've talked to him, and they would be happy also. I've talked to him about coming in, Emily and Kendall, to next month's meeting to give further updates. I mean, the 2 points that Kendall and I discussed were the drive toward Grosvenor being the site to be selected is really because there's been numerous public processes where
It's
the
been-
community has
it's chosen.
stated several times
Yeah.
that this is the school that they want. That area specifically wants a community school reopened.
Yeah.
And Ashburton is overflowing,
Yep.
farmland is overflowing,
It's
and they want.
geographically in a good position, it's centrally located, for a number of reasons, and the Board of Education seemingly continues not to select it because it seems like in their mind, it's still the best candidate as a holding school.
Right,
because
it's a
they have-
10-acre site too, it's, yeah,
Yep,
it's big.
and it is. I mean, it's currently the holding school for Lux Manor.
Mm-hmm.
As to Kensington Elementary, I think it's just that there's only a couple sites that are already currently built, but with the reality that it's built for 300, not for 700.
No, you'd have to put trailers all over and then you'd have no outdoor space,
Right.
so
It's
that
like
would
a
just be
defeating its own
ridiculous.
purpose.
Now,
Yeah.
MCPS, they, in their school their school site survey, very rude. I mean, we're talking like geometrical shape,
Right.
sophistication. They laid out that if they were to reprogram Kensington Elementary, they'd reorient the building entirely. So, point is, this is very much in flux.
Yeah.
But MCPS it is currently their building, their property with the state. The town has 2 lots that we own. We are a stakeholder and a partner within this process. And it's trying to find the best partnership of what their needs are for school programming, and then meeting with what our needs are. If they're putting $1 into this property, what the town needs are as far as circulation and ingress and egress
And Seth was very clear, we would be at the table.
Mhm.
Not an issue, we would be there. So
So-
that's not a problem.
Yep.
I mean,
They're all admirable pursuits, right? Like I don't think any of them are very
Right.
controversial. I
Right.
just worry
And-
about
and-
shoving 700 children.
well, trust
into
me,
those
every
spaces.
neighborhood whose, land was up for grabs said the same thing that we did. Narrow streets, not enough parking, traffic,
Yeah.
same thing. The thing with Airlawn is they were trying to grab parkland and say
Right.
that's our outdoor space, which, that they really hadn't talked to Parks about that.
Right.
So, but, one of the things the nice thing about Grosvenor is it wouldn't really affect our boundaries necessarily. If you were to open Kensington Elementary School as a new elementary school, then he called it boundary cascading. It means you would have to totally look at.
Impacts everyone.
It impacts everybody. Because, it would probably obviously it would impact us, it could impact Kensington Estates, it could Chevy Chase View,
That just seems like such a nightmare for them.
right.
Like,
So it's,
I don't think they know what they want.
well, there's obviously some very difficult decisions, but I think, and he also told me, because I said, look, we don't want the building sitting empty.
Right.
So I was joking with Bridget this morning, because he told me it would take 6 months to go in there and reconfigure the
At
inside of the
least.
building and
Yeah.
get it ready for pre-K. So 6 months means 2 years in county talk. So, anyway, so lots in flux. I'm gonna go to the work session on the 12th, and
But it sounds like it's a desirable location and that the chance of it being left empty is pretty small, so that's.
they are definitely, that's the one thing I'm sure of, they want the school back.
Good.
So, that's not a question. So I don't think, a full recreation center is not gonna happen.
Yeah,
But I think if we can get that recreational component, getting it back into MCPS, then the community use of public facilities kicks in and you're able to rent it easier,
Yeah,
cheaper.
Just go
They
on
will
the
have staff
website.
who's
Staff
in the
that's
building.
gonna be in the
Yeah.
building, so I think that'll be good.
I think everyone's needs are met in that scenario.
Well, probably not everyone will
Well.
say that, but.
Well. You're fighting disaster.
Yeah, be optimistic, sure. Anyway, so I think that's all I have for now.
Good
Do you
luck
have
getting out of
anything?
your driveway.
What's that?
Good luck getting out
I
of your
know,
driveway.
right?
Back
Well,
in.
some days I
Back
can't
in.
get out of I can't get to my driveway because the back, if I get there right when HOC is letting out, I just have to wait in line.
Oh, you
So-
people with driveways.
I
showing
know.
off.
You have anything else to add about schools? Okay, so we're good?
I'd just say thank you obviously there are a lot of meetings and a lot of time that you and Connor and Kendall are putting into this, so.
Well,
I
Kendall
really
didn't
appreciate
stay, but I stayed for the
Oh,
entire
I
period.
will rank them in
Kendall
order.
under the
Yes, but you get up there, we're talking about Clarksburg Elementary, and there's a lot of going on up there, so.
No, it's
I mean,
almost
it's countywide.
overwhelming. Because you have CIP meetings, then you have the boundary study meetings, then you have budget meetings. So, it's been great that, Tracy's jumped into a lot of meetings, but that's obviously because we have a building here that will impact our town. But yeah, it's a lot of meetings.
Yeah. So, anyway, and we still really are at least 2.5 years away before HOC even moves out, so we still got some time here.
2.5 years of meetings, is that what I just heard?
That's probably what you heard, yep. Anyway, okay, good. So, Matt, your turn.
Sure. So we just want to announce that the Ethics Commission met on March 5th, 2020 to accept and review the financial disclosure forms. Mr. Gaffey's here if he'd like to comment on that, but he doesn't need to, it's not required, so.
If you comment, you gotta go up there, Matt, or Jack.
Jack Gaffey, Ethics Committee. Yes, we met, we reviewed the financial disclosure forms. A couple of minor problems, but there's nothing serious, and all forms were accepted. So we're good for another year.
Would you like me to swear you in while you're here?
Okay.
I can do that. I like it, I like it. You're a junior? Okay. Yeah, actually.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Okay, that did not fit. Right, okay.
Okay, all right, right hand.
Right hand.
Okay. I, John Gaffey Jr.,
I, John Gaffey Jr.,
do swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
do swear I will support the Constitution of the United States.
and that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance
I will be faithful and bear true allegiance
to the state of Maryland,
to the state of Maryland,
support the Constitution and laws of Maryland,
support the Constitution and laws of Maryland,
and uphold the laws of Montgomery County, Maryland,
uphold the laws of Montgomery County, Maryland,
and the Charter and Code of the Town of
and
Kensington.
the Charter and Code of the Town of Kensington.
And that I will, to the best of my skill and judgment,
And I will, to the best of my skill and judgment,
diligently and faithfully,
diligently and faithfully,
without partiality or prejudice,
without partiality or prejudice,
execute the office of Ethics Commission
execute the office of Ethics Commission
according to the Constitution and laws of this state.
according to the Constitution and laws of this state
That's it. Thank you.
and the town of Maryland. Thank you.
Okay, can I get you to sign here?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, right there. Okay. Don't want those germs.
You know, I was his intern.
Oh. That's right, we have it.
I used to write down.
Yeah, this is like a $100 pin here. From Capital Title.
Sounds like a plug.
I know, right?
Thank you.
You're welcome, thank you. This day, what is the date?
Today is the night.
Nicely done,
Want me
Jack.
to witness, or?
Yeah, well, it's, yeah.
It's better than it was.
Good.
Yeah.
All right, I'll take that.
Sounds like you had a good run.
Yeah.
And then the only other thing I really have to add is we confirm our State Highway Administration that the road transfer agreement went through on the road report. So Decatur, Madison, the northern part of St. Paul, and Perry will all be included, which helps us on the county transportation and highway users. So they confirmed that it went through. So
Okay, great. All right, thank you very much.
When we started eating up part of Parkwood now.
No, I don't think so. Okay, we're at public appearances. Anything that's not already on the agenda?
It was already on the agenda under moment of silence.
Okay,
My friend and colleague, Pop at the gas station at the service center, passed away yesterday.
we did bring him up,
Oh,
actually.
terrific, I didn't know.
No, we did.
Sorry.
If you have any other information on it,
No, I really don't. It's just that complications of cancer and blah, blah, blah.
right.
He will be sorely missed.
Yeah, well, I know is pretty broken up about it,
Yes.
so, yeah. He's
Thanks.
worked for him for like 20 years or something, is
He
that right?
worked with, under Mario for 21 years.
Yeah,
Wow.
And I worked with him for 7.
right, okay. Well, he'll be missed. Anyone else?
In terms of moment of silence,
Evan, you just need to repeat your name. anyway.
Evan Reynolds, Oberon Street,
Thank
sorry
you.
about that.
That's okay.
Moment of silence. The homeless lady that was
Oh, Moon,
on the corner
yes.
pretty faithfully. Had numerous conversations with her. Seemed like a very lovely person, and I was very, very sad to hear that she had passed. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I apologize. I thought about her and then I didn't write it down on my notes, so yes. Thank you.
As your astronomer pointed out, the first day of spring is the 19th. This year, because it's a leap year,
Mm-hmm.
things got shifted.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But early it's almost ever been for a long time.
I thought there was an Earth-ending meteor that was going to hit us before then. Do we have to worry about?
Don't get him going when he's not at the microphone. He's got to be at the microphone.
Maybe right in time for the election.
Probably not. Yes, there is.
Probably.
There is probably not. I mean, that's a small percentage. There is an asteroid that's going to pass fairly close. It happens occasionally.
That's why I don't bother composting. I mean, what's the point?
But the end is near.
Thank you.
This is the one person up here with an electric car.
And for the record, Moon's full name was Amy Beckwith, so just for the record.
But did she choose to go by Moon?
She did choose to go by Moon, but just for the record, that was her full name. If you wanted to Google her, you'd need to do Amy Beckwith, and you can get some
And then
information on
get
her.
her.
Yeah. So, okay. All right. Anyone else? We good? Okay. So we'll move on to ordinances. Matt?
So ordinance number O-01-2020, this evening is the public hearing for our commercial sign regulations ordinance. Please note that this was originally ordinance number O-03-2019. After a number of revisions, we decided to reintroduce the bill. In addition, I want staff sent out a postcard to every residential property. They should have received it. And we also sent the revised ordinance to Montgomery County Council for review. Mr. Zions has it. He has not commented yet, but hopefully we'll hear from him
Well, the
soon.
record will stay open until the Friday before our
Correct.
next meeting, so.
Correct.
Yeah. Does the council have any questions?
So we don't vote tonight?
No, we will vote tonight, but we'll keep the, we're not gonna vote, we're doing the hearing.
Okay.
The hearing is tonight.
Okay.
I'm sorry, the vote will be next month. No one signed up, so I guess no one has any questions or concern about it, about the ordinance change. Do you wanna can you highlight just a little bit, Matt, of the things that we did tighten up and?
Sure. The main revision was pertaining to limited duration signs and real estate signs and how we would regulate them. We determined that we would classify real estate signs instead of instead of temporary signs, they would have to be classified as permanent signs with a permanent material, or limited duration with a set schedule of when they can be posted and where they need to be in placement to the property, and also a size regulation. So
Right.
that's the main. We also touched on freestanding signs or monument signs. We gave an exemption to Kensington Shopping Center. As long as they bring the existing monument sign up to code, they have 20 years on it unless the property's redeveloped. So those are the two main regulations.
Any questions? Okay, so we'll leave.
Just one very minor nit, I mean, and I'll probably find more of them. But in L, the variance procedure on page 8, it has 4 factors. And under the 4th factor, under the 3rd, there's an A, B, C, and D. I think just technically that "and" from section 2 needs to follow. In other words, it's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And so I think the "and" needs to just be down at the end of 3,
Okay.
not at the end of 2. But I think it's in good shape, and I think, from where it started to now is a lot of progress.
Well, it's a challenge because you want to be supportive of the businesses and them trying to get their message out, yet you're also trying to balance, aesthetics. And I think my beef has been less with the banners and more with the billboard for lease signs, which to me are the most hideous things. And the fact that you can put them up, and even though you're fully leased, leave them up forever is just, that's to me,
Absurd.
absurd, yes, thank you. And so I'm looking forward to that day, and they cannot be in the right-of-way. So there's quite a few signs right now that will be going. And I will be more than happy to see them leave. And, the banner here and there, we'll get a handle on that. But to me, getting rid of those for lease signs is the big one. I think practically except for the Kensington Shopping Center, and I just asked them to remove it once I knew they were fully, he probably would have left, it'd probably still be sitting there if I hadn't asked him to remove it. All right, since there's no one who wants to come up and speak to the ordinance, I just want to be clear, on our April meeting is the 13th, which is Easter Monday. Make sure everybody's going to be here. That's the 13th of April.
Yes.
So we would be holding open until the 10th.
Correct, 4 p.m., close
Okay.
business.
Okay. So any comments can be received up until 4 o'clock on April 10th. So do we need a motion on that from the council?
A motion to leave it open?
To leave it open till the 10th.
I move that we leave the record open on ordinance O-01-2020 until 4 p.m. on Friday, April 10th.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay. Okay, we have the next ordinance is the introduction of the budget.
Okay.
And we will hold the public hearing on Monday, April 13th. So you have the budget ordinance in front of you. So I need a motion to schedule the hearing for the budget.
I make a motion to schedule a hearing for the budget on April
13th.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, and we have a resolution on the appointments for the Board of Supervisors of Election. I believe it should be Martha, Jenny, got my papers
Spencer.
out, and
Spencer.
Spencer.
I move that we approve resolution R-02-2020, resolution of the Kensington Town Council confirming appointments made by the mayor to the Board of Supervisors of Election.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much. And final is the appointments for the Ethics Commission, which will be reappointing Jack. And, so is it just Jack, or is it
The
the
other two.
entire committee?
No, the other two just continue.
Okay,
Yep.
that's what I thought.
The other two are next year.
Okay. So we need to reappoint Jack.
Make a motion to reappoint Jack.
Okay, Jack Gaffey
Gaffey
Jr.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, never
Okay.
to be forgotten.
Is there a
Second
second? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much. Anything else? We all good?
Good.
Need a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you.